and to my constituent, Rabbi Rosenberg, for really leading the charge for this. There is something fascinating and bizarre in the fact that there are people who seem to be upset that there are rabbis and other people of faith out here asking for ceasefire. And it's bizarre because you would assume that if you are a religious leader, if you are a faith leader, that your number one priority would be to look into your faith, into the teachings of your faith, and to say, I oppose violence.
Yes.
I oppose the massacre of children.
Yes.
I oppose the destruction of lives.
Yes.
But it's also fascinating in that it is not surprising, because throughout history, the opposite has happened. We have seen faith leaders use their own faith to justify massacres, to justify genocide, to justify violence, to justify rape. And so I am glad to be with the righteous ones who are on the right side of history today in front of the People's House. I was just in Minnesota this past weekend, and there was an incredible rally yesterday called Families for Ceasefire. It was mothers and fathers with little babies pushing strollers that carried banners that said ceasefire now. It was fathers who had their kids over their shoulders carrying signs that said, I, as a child, am for the children of Gaza. There were little ones like my own who can walk, who also had their little signs with little flowers that said, let Gaza live. And it was a beautiful sight, because there are so many children in today's world who are witnessing with their own eyes the massacre that is taking place, the unfolding genocide of Gaza, of Palestinians in Gaza. Little kids in Somalia had a big march in the capital of Mogadishu, where I was born. These are kids who have their own violence to deal with, but they recognize what they are dealing with is nothing close to what the children in Gaza are dealing with. So they banded together, created their little posters, and were marching through the streets of Mogadishu. That humanity that those children are showing is the humanity that we need every single person to show. The devastating death toll is something we can no longer be silent about. We have over 11,000 people killed just little over a month. Over 40% of that are children. Some who have not gotten to celebrate their first birthday, have not even got to walk. Overwhelming majority of those are women who themselves are watched, possibly, the death of their own children. Yes, in the last couple of weeks before we first had this press conference, a lot more people have gotten on board. We are seeing so many people pushing for a ceasefire in ways that we have not seen before. But the death and destruction still continues. Israel is being allowed to bomb caged people with impunity. And our own government is preparing and pushing for us to give them more ammunition to kill more children, more mothers, more elderly. There was a heartbreaking video I watched today of a couple who were deaf. Their son was translating for them in order for the interview to carry on. And they talked about how terrified they were because they can't hear the bombs. They can't hear the shouting. They can't hear people fleeing. So they are trapped. I mean, how many of these stories do you have to hear? Or do people in our government have to hear in order for them to have the tears they had when Ukraine was getting bombed? For them to have the shock and sadness and sorrow when Ukraine was being bombed? I remember all of my colleagues, we all huddled, completely devastated for the mass destruction and the loss of lives. And now they all look at us as if we are the ones that are killing people, even though they're the ones that are staying silent as people are being killed. Somehow we are being questioned. Our humanity is being questioned when our heart breaks for the 12,000 Israelis that were killed and over the 11,000 Palestinians that are killed. But no one questions the humanity and the hearts of those who can only see a loss of life on one side, who could only mourn for the death of one people. So I ask you all today to ask yourselves, who are the peacemakers? The ones who are warmongering or the ones who are calling for a ceasefire? Who are the ones who are lost? The ones who want more death or the ones who want the death to end? Who is being divisive? The ones that can't see certain people's agony, death, and destruction? Or the ones who can see all? Because if we are going to change this conversation, if we are going to move the hearts and the souls of people that are in this building behind us, we have to start asking the hard questions. We have to start asking where their humanity is. We have to start asking, why do they think it is okay for us to watch Israeli and Palestinian babies not being treated the same? Thank you.